United States Department of Justice, they want Boeing to plead guilty to criminal fraud. Boeing's only got like a week left or so to do it. See what happens. Let's watch this quick video.
Evan Renton with a look at what one aviation attorney is saying about it and why he believes Boeing will take the deal in the end. Jen.
Good evening. Well, he says this deal has more teeth than the original deferred prosecution agreement, and it provides for oversight from a federal monitor to look at what's happening within the company. Despite that oversight, he believes that this could be a better deal for the company to take rather than taking the case to trial.
And I'm super excited to be going.
Darcy Belanger died in the Boeing 737 MAX 8 crash in Ethiopia. This was one of the last videos taken of him as he waited for his flight to Kenya for a UN meeting.
There's a whole team of MAPS ambassadors.
Victims' families from both the Ethiopia and Indonesian crash held pictures of their lost loved ones at a recent hearing, many asking the DOJ to prosecute.
Give us our day in trial with them. With all of them, not only the Boeing, the management and its CEO.
Victim families are understandably frustrated.
Attorney Mark Lindquist represents Belanger's wife. He says under the proposed plea agreement, Boeing would plead guilty to a felony, pay fines and restitution with 3 years of probation, including an independent monitor.
Clearly, Boeing has failed as its own watchdog.
Lindquist says because the deal offers a plea to conspiracy to defraud rather than something else like manslaughter, some might call it a sweetheart deal. But he adds there's more oversight.
Guilty plea to a felony is a step up in accountability from the initial deal, which was a deferred prosecution agreement. Additionally, this federal independent monitor is new leverage.
Lindquist feels Boeing will strongly consider it.
Boeing would be absolutely brutalized at trial. The evidence is overwhelming. Their own executives have made admissions.
The company has until the end of the week to accept.
Boeing should jump on this deal right away. Boeing cannot go to trial. The evidence is overwhelming. Their executives have made public admissions. If they go to trial, all their negligence, all their misconduct, all their dirty laundry will come out in a highly public forum. Boeing has to take a deal, any deal, and this is as good as it's going to get for Boeing.
Remember we had those pesky crashes and a lot of people died. And then Boeing, we podcasted this back in the day. We podcasted this. They threw a couple of low-level employees under the bus and said it was them. It was those guys. When they did that, and you're like, yeah, whatever. So people are thinking this is just going to be yet another just slap on the wrist. It's like going from that to, just a little bit more, but not much. Did I get that? I got that on camera. Yeah. Not much, right? I mean, and a big corporation pleading guilty to criminal fraud. What does that even really mean? I mean, what does that do? I think the families, they want to go to trial for sure. They want to put Boeing through the grinder. And if I lost a loved one, if I lost my spouse, if I had one, if I lost a child, I'd want to see Boeing go down in flames. Is this yet another case of corporate shenanigans? Yeah, it is. It is, clearly. So it's Boeing getting through. They're reviewing all this with their attorneys now. They'll probably take this plea deal. And it's slightly, the whole thing is just, the system is rigged. You know what I mean? It's just so rigged. So rigged. U.S. Justice Department is pushing Boeing to plead guilty to criminal fraud connection with 2 deadly plane crashes involving its 737 MAX jetliners. According to several people who heard federal prosecutors detail a proposed offer Sunday. That was just this past Sunday. Boeing will have in the end of the coming week, so just after the 4th of July, to accept or reject the offer, which includes the giant aerospace company agreeing to an independent monitor. But, okay, whatever. Who would oversee its compliance with anti-fraud laws, they said. Really? You're going to oversee Boeing? You're going to see the airline behemoth? You're going to oversee them? I mean, right? Okay. I mean, I guess it's better than nothing, but it's kind of like big corporate just does whatever the F they want, and there's basically no consequences. Yeah, I mean, you're going to put all of Boeing in jail for criminal fraud. Really? You're gonna have a felony? Boeing's going to have a felony. It feels like everybody's going to have a felony soon, right? Felonies just don't mean anything because we're not really doing anything about incarceration, right? Remember when being a felon used to actually mean something? Now Trump's a felon and Biden should be a felon and Hunter Biden is a felon. Case stems from the department's determination that Boeing violated an agreement that was intended to resolve a 2021 charge of conspiracy to defraud the U.S. government. Prosecutors alleged at the time that Boeing misled regulators who approved the 737 MAX and set pilot training requirements to fly the plane. Company blamed 2 relatively low-level employees for the fraud. They did it. It's them. It's them. I mean, how much do those guys get paid on the back end? Yeah. Or they just get hung out to dry. You just literally hang them out to dry. Justice Department told relatives of some of the 346 people who died in 2018 and 2019 about the plea offer during a video meeting. Family members who want Boeing to face a criminal trial and pay a $24.8 billion fine reacted angrily. They lost loved ones. Their lives have been absolutely rocked. Boeing has said, basically, top-level officials have said, yeah, we're kind of guilty. Yeah, we've got some, we got some responsibilities here. We've got some liability. This isn't looking good. One said prosecutors were gaslighting the families. Another shouted at them for several minutes when given a chance to speak. They lost loved ones. They're pissed off. They're upset. And Boeing's like, we're Boeing. I guess we'll take the deal. We are upset. They should just prosecute, says Massachusetts resident Nadia Millerone, whose 24-year-old daughter, Samia Stumo, died in the second of 2 737 MAX crashes. This is just a reworking of letting Boeing off the hook. It's reworking letting Boeing off the hook with slightly greater implications, right? All right. We're going to have you under watch. We're going to have the watchful eye of whatever entity. You're going to be under supervision. Prosecutors told the families that if Boeing rejects the plea offer, the Justice Department will seek a trial in the matter. Meeting participants said the plea deal would take away the ability of U.S. District Judge Reed O'Connor to increase Boeing's sentence for a conviction. Some of the families plan to ask the Texas judge to reject the deal if Boeing agrees to it. Something's going to be tied up in litigation forever, isn't it? I mean, you got billions of dollars at stake. You got people who lost loved ones. You've got corporate fraud. You got corporate fraud going on. Underlying outrageous piece of this deal is that it doesn't acknowledge that Boeing's crime killed 346 people. And they did. They did. Yeah. But we're not going to get into that because, man, payout on that, they're going to have payout of something, right? They're going to have payout of something. What's it going to be? Boeing is not going to be held accountable for that, and they're not going to admit that that happened. They're corporate. Of course not. Why would they? Take personal responsibility. That's why all those commercials that you see for all these big corporations, just a bunch of nonsense. Just, we love you so much. We love our fellow human being, and more importantly, our customers so much. So much. Sanjeev Singh, a lawyer for 16 families who lost relatives in the October 2018 Lion Air crash off in Indonesia, called the plea offer extremely disappointing. The terms, he said, read to me like a sweetheart deal. That's what most folks on the receiving end of Boeing's fraud, criminal actions, fraud actions, convicted felon actions. They're not convicted yet, though. Is Boeing already a felon? I don't know. Maybe. Another lawyer representing families who are suing Boeing, Mark Lindquist, said that he asked the head of the Justice Department's fraud section, Glenn Leon, whether the department would add additional charges if Boeing turns down the plea deal. He wouldn't commit one way or another. Yeah, these people want to get their justice. They want to take as big of a chunk out of Boeing as they can. They want to get some money. That will happen. How much that's the question, right? Boeing's already basically, this isn't looking good. You know what? Boeing's just going to brush off another big case just like that. Cause it's Boeing, right? Boeing, biggest manufacturers of airplanes in the world. Here in Seattle, I mean, we are entrenched, not as much as we used to be, but we are still wildly entrenched with Boeing. Last one out, turn off the lights during the Great Recession, and Boeing was laying off all those people. 1960, whatever, maybe early 1970 something. I don't know. But yeah, people, even when I was younger, they would have this, and they were a generation older, like my parents' age. They would talk about the next big Boeing layoffs and how that would really impact things. Because we used to be a one company town, and basically Boeing. You had a few other smaller companies, but Boeing was like the big driver. And so when this kind of thing happens now, you know, it's kind of like, all right, that's Boeing, and they're a huge entity, and they're basically going to get away with it. And that's what's going to happen. They're going to get away with a large percentage of, if this was an individual, if this was a private company, if this was, you know, a family held company, probably be going to trial, wouldn't they? Or would the wealthy family just do some kind of payoff? Yep, we're gonna 2 years probation, with 1 year and 3/4 of that stayed. You're gonna have to do 2 months in prison. Gonna send you to the country club. Yeah, gonna have your wife come visit you every other Tuesday. Meeting with crash victims' families came weeks after prosecutor told O'Connor that American aerospace giant breached the 2021 deal that had protected Boeing from criminal prosecution in connection with the crashes. The second one took place in Ethiopia less than 5 months after the one in Indonesia. Remember when that happened? And you're like, whoa, yeah. You did start checking what kind of plane I'm getting on here, because those 737 Maxes, yeah, not good, not good. A conviction could jeopardize Boeing's status as a federal contractor. Right. Yeah. According to some legal experts, the company has large contracts with the Pentagon and NASA. So who exactly would the Pentagon and NASA get to build their planes? Yeah, right? Come on now. However, federal agencies can give waivers to companies that are convicted felons to keep them eligible for government contract. Of course they can. We really need this company to be able to work for us. Yeah, but they're convicted felons. Doesn't matter. We'll do a workaround. We'll give them a reach around. Lawyers for the crash victims' families expect that would be done for Boeing. Boeing paid a $244 million fine as part of the settlement. They skated on the felony in 2021. This plea deal requires them to take the felony. Whole thing. System is rigged, right? It just is. It just is. So bottom line is Boeing's going to take this deal because it's a sweetheart of a deal. They're not going to trial, like the end of this article says. That said, the guy goes on to say, Boeing has to accept by the end of the week. That said, I expect Boeing will leap at this deal. A trial would be absolutely brutal for Boeing. The evidence is overwhelming. Boeing executives have made public admissions at trial. Yeah, we might have violated that agreement, but just a scooch. I mean, just a little bit. You, sir, and you, sir, are fired. All right, it was those guys. And then Boeing's going to have to get out their checkbook and yep. How much? Oof. Yeah, it's not going to be good for the quarterlies. Oof. Yeah. Oof. That's what's going to happen here in Seattle. And this court case is, I think, elsewhere. Is that where it is? Texas? Is that where the court case is? I don't know. Yeah. I just know this has been going on for a while. Families are pissed, and I don't blame them. Boeing's going to get away. They're going to, this is business in America, right? This is worldwide business. This is just how it goes down. All right. That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'll catch up with you in the next episode. Bye for now.